to the Josh YouTube channel and another episode of the Chip Ahead. But this time we are stepping away from the Premier League because some of the lower league division teams need a bit of attention. Of course, there is only one man. Literally only one man needed for Cardiff City, and of course that is Nathan, a big regular of the channel, someone who I know extremely well. Nathan, it's a very hot day here in the UK, so it's a bit of a grind, a bit of a struggle to do this video today, but the grind also on YouTube, does it?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Josh, and I can't wait to talk about Cardiff as usual.
I think it's your first time talking about Cardiff next season on YouTube, isn't it? So wait, hear some special things.
Oh yes.
So just to start off, obviously, just to give us a bit of a platform, let's start off with last season. Just kind of briefly, how would you sum up last season? Obviously, good start under Harris. You were good start off. I remember you bet Watford Vicarage Road. Everyone was figuring out this is going to be a good season. Things took a bit ever since the South Wales derby. Though under Harris, things took a big dip. He ended up getting sacked. McCarthy came in, very good run. Everyone's thinking, could we go for the playoffs? Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately things kind of fell off the end after, especially injuries at centre back definitely kind of hurt you, a full back too. How would you sum up last season? Were you happy with where you were given the circumstances, or were you a bit disappointed?
Last season was very, very disappointing for the squad we had. Considering the season before, we very nearly went, we nearly went back up, of course. First time of asking, got a good place in the playoffs. Just missed out to eventual winners Fulham in the end, but I thought we could build on it from next season, but we just completely lost it. Yes, we did lose those key players, especially at centre-back sort of around Christmas, but we should have capitalised on it. We couldn't get anything. The biggest pet peeve for me, as usual, was losing derbies. We lost again to Swansea 2-0 at home, and we also lost to Bristol City at home as well. And in my opinion, for any Cardiff manager, that is completely unacceptable. And then building on from that, Harris was backed in the January transfer window, made more signings, but couldn't make an impact at all. Ended up getting sacked. In comes Mick McCarthy, turns it round straight away, to be fair to him. Then we thought we were going to get playoffs. There was a high chance of it, but injuries came once again. We lost all our fullbacks in one go. So we were playing with midfielders at fullbacks. And to be fair, we did well to finish 8th that year, I believe. It was 8th. I was happy with that in the end.
Do you think if you kept those fullbacks, you kept those key players fit, you could have potentially have got the playoff spot confirmed and had a shot at getting promoted?
Under Harris, I'm not too sure. But under Mick McCarthy, if we didn't have those injury issues and players kept in form, then I think we could have. And
then the last question about last season is, I know it's a early, but do you use the right decision give McCarthy a full-time contract? Was he signed until the end of the season originally? He had a few good games and was given a contract. Do you think that was the right decision?
In the end, I think so, mainly just for managerial security as well. His agent wanted it, and not only that, it was a bit nerve-wracking because he was linked with Celtic towards the end of the season, and there was a high chance he could have taken up that full-time contract. And basically stayed at us for the end of the season, stabled the ship, and then moved on to Celtic and moved on to Champions League football, of course.
Who was your player of the season for last year?
That's a difficult one because there was a lot of good team performances. I think every single player that season had time on the injury list at least. I'm probably going to have to go Sean Morrison. What a player throughout the season. Consistent, superb.
Shame he got injured, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got injured for periods. Only missed a couple of games, though, to be fair. It wasn't like really a long-term injury, such as Lee Tomlin's. But, yeah, he was superb. And actually, one player even better than that, Kiefer Moore. Unbelievable. Our first 20-goal-a-season striker since 2011 in Jay Bothroyd and Michael Chopra.
And he had a very good Euros as well.
Oh, he was superb in the Euros.
On to obviously one of the most important things in a transition of a season, obviously, is of course the transfer window. So obviously, as you can see they're all apparently they're all free transfers, which is quite interesting. Starting off with the top winner, James Collins from Luton Town, centre forward, on a free transfer. I think this is probably to replace Robert Gatzel and be the backup to Kiefer Moore next season.
I think he's going to play alongside him up front because Nick McCarthy likes to play this 5-3-2 formation or 5-3-1-1. So he's going to be paired with Kiefer Moore. So a slightly shorter option to Kiefer Moore, so they can run down the channels. And there's really an alternative if Kiefer Moore gets marked there. So I can see him starting.
What do you make of him? Is he from what you know of him? I'll be back in 2 seconds while you explain.
No worries. He's been at Luton Town for a number of years now. He's been an absolute goal machine for them. I think he had about 12 to 14 goals last season. One of the reasons why they've been staying in the Championship, and he was also instrumental as well for when they did end up getting promoted from League One as on top of that. But yeah, he's a proven goal scorer in the league, especially for a lower down team who is trying to survive in the Championship, which is very difficult as well. So to be honest, great signing, especially for free as well.
Next from Crewe Alexander in the League One, 24-year-old Ryan Wintold, defensive midfielder, also on a free transfer. I have actually heard some very good things, some decent things about him. Especially young, he did well in a quite a struggling League One side. Another free transfer. I guess that's actually, given his age from the league he's from, I think that's not a bad signing.
Yeah, he had an absolutely superb season last year at Crewe Alexandra. Really in that midfield role, getting things through. From what I've seen of him, absolutely brilliant. And I think he's ready for the Championship as well. And one of the players you've really got to watch. Honestly, him on a free transfer is superb.
Ryan Gills from the Wolves under 23, he's 21-year-old left midfield. He's a loan transfer. He's a loan transfer too. Is he going to play this season, or is he coming in for your academy? Do you know what's happening with him?
I believe he is coming to us on loan. I think he's actually a left back or a left wing back. So he is going to be Joe Bennett's replacement, since he's got a long-term injury, and I don't know what's happening with his contract that is now expired. And he's also going to be backup, or Joel Bagan is going to be backup for Ryan Giles. So it's going to be one of those ones. But yeah, he'll definitely be in and around the first team squad.
Mark McGuinness from the Arsenal 23, 20-year-old centre back. I think he's going in for your academy. I don't think
nope, he's actually going to be a first team challenger as well. Had a great season last year on loan at Ipswich Town. Really instrumental there. Great young player. It could be hit and miss whether he's Championship ready or not, but I think he's going to have a great season as well. Being paired up with the likes of Sean Morrison, Curtis Nelson, another player who I completely forgot one in the squad tonight, because we are currently playing Forest Green Rovers. That game is currently 0-0 as it stands down in the Cotswolds. And yeah, I think he's good backup. He's good backup.
In terms of transfers out, obviously Robert Gatzel, he went on loan to Mainz last season. He's left to join Hamburger in the second tier of the Bundesliga for 810 TH, which was obviously Bundesliga. That's obviously German currency. Don't know what that is in points, yeah. But he did start under Harris. Well, obviously Mike McCarthy just didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, he was a Neil Warnock signing. Bought him for about £5 to £6 million, I believe. Scored some good goals under Neil Harris, of course, but Mick McCarthy doesn't favour him, especially because we got two huge striking options under Kiefer and Robert as well. So he went straight out on loan last season to Mainz. And now, obviously, he's gone to Hamburg for just under £1 million, which is about a £4.5 million loss there.
That's a terrible, terrible piece of business.
Especially for the Championship as well.
Joe Day, he left. He joined Newport County.
He's gone back to Newport. He was brought in as a third choice keeper back when we got relegated from the Prem from Newport on a free transfer when his contract runs out. But yeah, he never really started. He's gone back on a free transfer.
Jonathan Williams.
Johnny Esther, he was brought in really for squad depth while we got some younger players in, as we touched on earlier, such as with the likes of Ryan Wintle, for example. And yeah, he was without a club. Well, he was without a club for a while. I think he left in January. He left Charleston in January. Wasn't favoured there. Came in for a bit, played 2 games, and now he's been released, of course. That was only meant to be a short-term deal.
Joe Bennett.
This is one that sticks out a little bit. He's still training with the club. He's got a long-term injury. He's going to be out till October, November. But we're not sure with the current contract situation on that one. He could re-sign with us. He might not. It really depends on his rehabilitation there. So that is a massive question mark at the moment.
and then obviously Sol Bamba had a very difficult year last year. Obviously, he got cancer, and he did fight. He finally managed to came back. I think he came off the bench on the final game of the season. Do you think it's a bit weird that he was let go? Even though he just kept around for dressing room presence, or if he had a crisis, at least you had someone who could fill the bits.
He was when Harris came in and Warnock was there and stuff. He was there for the dressing room, and he really rallied them up and stuff. Good cover as well. Mind, he hasn't been that same player since he did his ACL in the Premier League back when we played Wolves. That really cost us towards the end of that Premier League season as well. But this is another one I'm unsure about. From what I've heard, I don't know whether this is confirmed or not, but he was offered a non-playing role at the club, but he wanted to have one full last season in football. I mean, he is 36. I think he still has way to go, but if I was Cardiff manager, I would have kept him on for another year and then give him a non-playing role.
Well, given the thing, say he doesn't have a club at the moment, he may end up retiring.
Yet it looks like he might be going to Middlesbrough for one season, reuniting with Neil Warnock.
And then the final one, Junior Hoylett. I know there was a kind of mixed feeling about Junior Hoylett leaving. What do you think?
I think he was good for squad depth, but in the end, they just couldn't come to an agreement on his contract. And I think in the end, he just wanted to run it down and he wants to find a new challenge. From what I've heard so far, there is rumours he is going to be playing in the MLS.
The MLS?
Which will be, yes, the MLS for a Canadian club, as he is Canadian.
Just going back here to your rivals, all free transfers, do you think that kind of sums up how much Cardiff may be struggling a bit financially if you're kind of looking for, like, say, younger players or looking for free transfers?
To be honest, from what we spent in the last few seasons, it doesn't come as a surprise to me personally. There could be more spending later in the window. We don't know. I'm possibly expecting a few more loans to come through as well. But I think it's really getting that wage bill down is another one as well. But yeah, because I believe we did spend, if I can recall, about 5 to 10. Well, I'd say 20 million in the last 3 seasons. So it's really having a year where we don't spend much and get loans in and wheel and deal and get these free transfers.
What positions do you think Cardiff need to strengthen in that they haven't already?
Central attacking midfielder, 100%. We don't have that playmaker still. Harry Wilson filled those boots in well last season, especially under Mick McCarthy. Scored a hat-trick, had some great games, but I don't know what's happening with that loan deal, where he's going, because I believe a lot of Premier League clubs want to poach him. And then also at centre-back, we really need another Sean Morrison there. Curtis Nelson needs a bit of developing, and he's gone hot and cold a little bit towards the end of last season. And then Aidan Flint, well, we know about Aidan Flint, don't we?
Well, he scored that winner against Swansea, didn't he? So
he did score that winner against Swansea, but he is a little bit inconsistent. We need that consistency and that grit like Sean Morrison at the back.
Flint never played under Harris, did he? It was, remember, McCarthy just likes him.
Yeah, he was signed under Neil Warnock, not favoured at all under Neil Harris. Went straight out on loan. I believe it was one definite loan, failed loan move, but just couldn't get back in the side after it. Or he came straight back in the side when Mick McCarthy took over.
Right, so regarding regarding pre-season, obviously as you've kind of already touched upon, you are currently playing a pre-season friendly against Forest Green Rovers, which
correct.
I'm going to double check what the score is now. So your against Forest Green Rovers. I don't know how. Honestly, I feel bad for the players playing a pre-season friendly in a state. Must be unbearable. And it is actually nil each at half time against Forest Green Rovers. So all the friendlies on the 24th of July, you play Cardiff City. Are these games at home, or are these being played at your academy ground, or?
So Forest Green is away. Away fans are actually barred from this game because they don't want Cardiff fans travelling there and having the same scenes that they had at Bath. Because we basically filled their stadium and there was just chants everywhere and stuff. But it was brilliant scenes because that is the actual first game that Cardiff fans have been able to watch in 15 months. So we took a huge crowd to there. Forest Green, no Cardiff fans allowed. And then Exeter is, I believe, taking place behind closed doors in the Academy Stadium. And then Cardiff Southampton, that is going to be played in front of 8,000 fans next week. We could have had a lot more in, but that's just the Welsh government for you. You already know my thoughts about that. And then against Southampton, that's going to be a really good test for us, especially if we can get some first team players in there, rotate really well. I'm actually going to that one as well, which I can't wait. First game in 15 months.
Is there a match day vlog on for it on your channel?
Yep, there will be a match day vlog on that one. And for another big one, the first ever South Wales derby since 1988. Cardiff, Newport County. There's going to be 8,000 fans there. I still think that's poor. And because it hasn't happened in so long, there will be no away fans there. They have barred all Newport fans going to that game. And they're making sure that there's going to be no Newport fans there as well.
Are you able to make that game?
Yes, I will be going to that one. We have got tickets for both games.
There's 2 match day vlogs from the FNL. Make sure to check them out.
Absolutely.
Towards the end of the month. Obviously, what do you make of it? I think that's a decent pre-season. You got a derby, you've got a Premier League opposition. You're currently playing a game against a decent League One opposition. See with Exeter City and already bet 5-0 in your first one. So that's a really good packed and organised pre-season.
Yeah, especially with the amount of youngsters we've been playing as well. Bearing in mind that we've had loads of first-team players either benched or not playing many minutes. And even some youngsters as well, such as Zimba, to name a few as well. Sorry, it's gone. Trying to get the name back again. Oh, what's his name? Hang on. Sorry, Josh. I actually can't remember the lineup. Oh my. How have I forgotten this?
Very rare that you forget this stuff.
Yeah, I know. I know this is embarrassing. This. Right. Hopefully this will give me something. Nope. Yes, go on. And that's including the likes of Zimba, Sam Bowen, Oliver Denham having great games. Tom Sang was brilliant as well, really getting the youngsters to grind through there.
It's quite interesting though, because obviously, as you said, you've got Southampton, who are good opposition, a Premier League opposition, and I think you'll probably see the first team of Southampton probably that close towards the start of the season. Newport, South Wales derby, I know it's pre-season, but even if you win those games, in front of the Cardiff fans too, it'll give Cardiff a bit of a lift, a bit of confidence going into the season if you win a derby and beat a Premier League opposition as good as Southampton.
The fans definitely going to be up for it for that Newport game. I mean, it used to be a tasty one back all those years ago. We haven't played them since the 4th of April, 1988 as well, which goes to show. By the way, that was a 4-0 Cardiff win.
Maybe a bit of competition with Mike Green.
Oh, there will be. I mean, it used to be a really heated derby back in the day. Not quite as bad as Swansea, but it's still up there because the Newport fans really don't like Cardiff for some reason. But it'll be tasty.
All right, so looking at your first 6 games, looking at your first 6 games, so we'll start talking about how you're feeling about next season. Obviously, so you've got your home to Barnsley, which is such a big game for you.
That's a huge game
to start off with. Then you got Sultan Town in the League Cup in the first round.
Yeah.
Then you're away to Blackpool. Blackpool have a good squad this year. They've made some good signings there in the window. Petersburg, Chelsea tanked 6-1 there in pre-season. Millwall, your derby against Bristol City, and then away to Nottingham Forest. So it's quite a difficult start for Cardiff. You're at home. You're at home those first 2 games, and then you're away, and then you're home. So it's good for the home away games. How many points do you think Cardiff should get out of those games? On top of which, do you think you'll beat Sultan United in the cup?
I don't really care about the cup, to be honest. So Now we haven't for years because a lot of Cardiff fans, all we care about now is the league and putting everything into it. But surely they've only just come up from the National League, so we got to get something there, and that's going to be at home as well. Bearing in mind that'll be, well, we still don't know what's going on with the Welsh government, what they're going to allow, but that should be our second game with full stadiums, hopefully. So, yeah, that's got to be a win, surely. Barnsley, I'm going to say a draw there. Blackpool away should be a win. Touch wood. Peterborough away, we always lose there, so I'm going to say a loss for now. Maybe a draw would be okay. Millwall at home, I'm going to say a win there. Bristol City at home, I'm going to say a win as well. Touch wood. And then Nottingham Forest away, I'm going to say a draw. Lots of optimism to be had there.
So just out of these games, out of all of these kind of opening 7, 8 games, say you lost to Barnley, bet Sultan United, drew with Blackpool, drew with Peterborough, bet Millwall, and lost against Forest and Bristol City. Do you think pressure would start mounting on Mike McCarthy from the fans if he had a bad
with that sort of start? The fans would be going absolutely ballistic. I know a lot of them would be, especially only after such a few amount of games. But you've got to be looking at the teams that we've been playing. I mean, losses to Peterborough and Blackpool send the fans into hysterics. But even against Bristol City, who looks like they're going to struggle this year, they will go crazy. And if we lose to Sutton as well.
So you think you'll only lose one game when that's against Peterborough?
Yeah, I can. 1 or 2 games, possibly Forest as well. Maybe, well, we might struggle against Barnsley a little bit, but they've lost their manager, so anything could happen.
Where did he go?
Valerian Ismail. I think he. Let me double check.
Because he did really, really well to turn him around.
Yes, he went to West Brom. Ismail.
He went to West Brom?
Yeah, straight after taking Barnsley to the playoffs when they were favourites for relegation, he left the club, snaked them for West Brom.
I don't know that. There we go. I learned something now. Just because you're the only championship guy I'm having on this season, so I want to briefly ask you about some other teams just in place of other fans. Just going to kind of very briefly just go down some things. So we start off with Bournemouth, obviously under Scott Parker. Josh King's went to Watford, so they don't have him anymore. Where do you think Bournemouth should be roughly finishing with the squad they have under Scott Parker?
I think they're going to be in and around the playoffs, maybe pushing for the automatics, but I think there's going to be a bit of a honeymoon period where the team needs to gel to his system, which is completely different to what they were playing under the likes of Jason Tindall and Jonathan Woodgate. Especially with Scott Parker's absolutely mind-numbingly boring football as well. So I feel sorry for the Bournemouth fans there, but yeah, they should be around playoffs, maybe automatics.
Birmingham, I know they've been an up and down team in the championship. Do you think they could go for playoffs? Are they mid-table comfortably, or do you think they'll be brought into a bit of a relegation scrap?
They've been struggling the last few seasons. I think they're going to be around mid-table this year. I mean, Lee Boyer's come in as well, shored up the squad a little bit. But they are just missing that little bit of investment in quality, so they're going to be around mid-table.
Blackpool newly promoted.
They're going to be in a relegation fight, but I can see them staying up.
Obviously, this is the interesting one. Derby County, they've got a transfer ban on them. Wayne Rooney's still in charge. They've got they actually played really well against Man United there on Sunday. I watched it. But if you're a Derby fan, you've got very little optimism you stay up this year.
You've got to be massively concerned, considering the form you went into at the last turn of games of the season. I mean, I think you lost 6 or 7 on the bounce towards the end. Only got saved by a points deduction, which is absolutely scary to think about. If Sheffield Wednesday had proper people with brains running their finances, Derby would be in League One this season, and so would Wayne Rooney. But with the squad they have, I don't think it's that strong either to push up the table. I can see Wayne Rooney being sacked maybe around December, just before Christmas, and I don't think anyone will save them, so they're probably going to get relegated.
Fulham under Marco Silva, he has a terrible track record in England. He obviously got sacked at Watford, he got sacked at Everton. He comes into a Fulham team that I don't think they've actually really lost that many players so far in the transition. You'd expect Marco Silva to have Fulham there in the playoffs, but this guy he's going into a team that is terrible defensively, and he's his track record defensive wise is atrocious. So you just feel like it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, the only good I remember of Marco Silva is when he had his defence at Hull, when he very nearly kept them up when he had Harry Maguire and Andrew Robertson at the back, and he still couldn't keep them up, and that goes to show. But Fulham, it's going to go one of two ways for them. They're either going to be an absolute disaster and miss out on playoffs, or they're going to go up with 110 points. I think they're just going to narrowly miss out on playoffs with Marco Silva being sacked around February.
Huddersfield, they've had an up and down time in the Championship since they got relegated. Do you think this could be the year they push on for a playoff?
No chance. They've got an ex-Marcelo Bielsa assistant as their manager. They didn't impress me a lot last season. They look a very weak squad. I don't think they're going to invest in that either. It's also aging as well. No, nothing young coming through. I think they're going to get relegated.
Neil Warnock's in Middlesbrough.
They're going to be pushing for playoffs again. Signed a few decent players. A lot of ex-Cardiff in there as well. We've got the likes of Lee Peltier, Mendes Lang. Looks like Sol Bamba's going in there. They'll be playoffs.
That'll be playoffs. It'll be classic Neil. It won't be Neil Warnock without a bit of a playoff run, will it?
No chance.
Nottingham Forest.
This is difficult. Chris Hughton in charge. He is a bit of a Championship specialist. He's got Newcastle up. He's got Brighton up. They're going to be fighting for playoffs as well. Their squad depth is ridiculous. If they hold on to that and get something going, they will be pushing for it. Just don't bottle it like you did 2 seasons ago and let the Jacks in there.
QPR, I know there's been a lot of optimism around QPR. This could be the year they fight for the playoffs. Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, 100%. Mark Warburton's built something really good up there after a few horrific seasons in the Championship, a few relegation battles here and there as well. They're going to be pushing for playoffs, definitely. Do they have enough to get in? I'm not sure, but they're dark horses. They are the dark horses of the Championship this season.
Just the final couple of clubs. Sheffield United, under obviously no Chris Watt, but they've got a Championship proven manager. Obviously, the guy got Fulham promoted. He got Fulham promoted. He does play a very exciting style. What do you think?
Style of football means nothing in football. Considering what they're going from Chris Wilder with the overlapping centre backs to Slavicki Johanovic ball, they're going to have to take a few, and they've already admitted this as well. Sheffield United, they're going to have to take a few years to readapt and readjust their football. So I think they're going to be in the top 10, but they're just going to miss out on playoffs.
Stoke City actually came to Northern Ireland. They play, Linfield, don't you?
Yeah, Linfield.
They played Linfield on a friendly and tanked them 9-0.
That surprised me for Linfield as well. Cardiff just scored. Sorry.
Stephen Fletcher scored an overhead kick.
I have seen that admittedly as well, but Stoke is another difficult one. And what's his name? Martin O'Neill.
Martin.
Oh yeah, he's the Republic guy. And Michael O'Neill, a bit too defensive for the Championship. Didn't impress me most areas of last season. Top 10, but not making playoffs.
Do you think Michael O'Neill gets sacked? By that, because Stoke desperately need to start doing something in terms of fighting for playoffs or going up, because financially they're getting worse. Their squad's starting to get a bit older. They've got quite a few. Joe Allen still there, bit of an issue. Goalkeeper Sam Fletcher, Sam Folks. Their squad it's quite old.
Yeah, it's aging quite a lot, and they're not getting that much investment in there either. I don't think. I'm not sure about their transfers this season either. I don't think they brought too much in. They're going to struggle, but they got to do something at some point. In regards to Michael O'Neill, I think if they have a poor campaign, they'll keep him. They'll keep him for this year, but I can see him possibly resigning at the end of this season if he can't get him up there.
You think he'd resign?
I think he'll probably leave at the end of the season.
Just give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to try and just find his overhead kick that Stephen Fletcher scored it, because Linfield uploaded the highlights of the game on our YouTube channel. So just give me 2 seconds to see if I can. I'll see if I can pluck it out somewhere. Yep, I've actually just found it.
Oh, lovely. By the way, James Collins just scored the Cardiff goal as well, scoring once again. He's been on fire.
This is the overhead kick Stephen Fletcher scored against Linfield in the pre-season friendly they played there literally just on the 17th of July. It's a bit jittery because I'm share screening, but you'll pretty much see.
Oh, yes.
Stoke played Linfield off the park in that game. And then the final two teams, so obviously I have to ask you about your very beloved neighbours down the road, Swansea City. Obviously they didn't get promotion last year, which is probably quite a bad thing for them in the end. Probably embarrassingly bad, given probably the squad that they had last year. How do you think?
Slightly disagree on that, because for the last few seasons under Steve Cooper, and I don't want they're going to say, "Oh, Cardiff fan here," but with the squad you had, I think you've been massively overachieving. Considering when Steve Cooper first came in, a lot of you thought, or a lot of people were predicting them to be in a relegation fight, but Steve Cooper, superb manager down there, but they have lost a lot of key players. They've lost their goal scorer, Andre Ayew. They've lost Mark Gahey, one of the best defenders in the Championship last season. They are struggling this year. I think they're going to miss out on playoffs and just finish in the top 10. Ooh. With Steve Cooper leaving at the end of the season, going to the Premier League.
Ooh, that's a bold prediction. And the final one is West Brom. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen today. They were playing a friendly. They were playing a friendly today, and Mathis Pereira refused to play He refuses to play for West Brom, given their interest from Premier League clubs. He refused to play the friendly today for West Brom. Which is, when you have those toxic issues in clubs, it's never, ever, ever. Good news.
I mean, we've seen it all before with Ryan Fraser at Bournemouth as well, where he just completely refused to play because they blocked a move to Arsenal, and then he goes to Newcastle and is an absolute flop. So I can already see where this one's going. But if they lose Pereira, they're not getting promoted, and they'll struggle to even get into the playoffs. Actually,
and they don't have any. They don't have any Sam Johnston either.
True, yeah, he's left as well.
They're going to have David Button as their goalkeeper.
Yeah, they're going to struggle next year. They'll be up there, but they'll be fighting for playoffs.
So what would your top six be for the Championship next season?
I will say for this year's Championship, normally there is one standout team who everyone predicts who is going to go straight up. I mean, we've had it in the last few seasons. We've had Wolves, we've had Leeds, we've had Norwich, we've had loads of other teams. But this year, across the board, there isn't that standout. It's almost as if 8 teams could win the league this year. This is so hard to predict. If I get the odds up, for example, this is going to take a lot of deciding, because I haven't even done my predictions for this yet. Bear with me a sec. Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. Yeah, so currently, if you look at the currently I'm looking at the odds, and it has Fulham, West Brom, and then Sheffield United as the favourites. But with what we've been hearing from West Brom, Fulham, and Sheffield United of how they want to completely rejuvenate their squads, I can't see that happening so far. If I'm honest with who's going to go up, I am going to say Fulham finishing top, Queen's Park Rangers second, then Bournemouth, Cardiff, Nottingham Forest, Blackburn.
Where's Swansea and Cardiff?
Cardiff, I think, will finish 4th, and then I think Swansea will be about 8th.
And 8th?
Yeah.
You may hope no Swansea fans see us.
Oh, I know. I do think they're going to struggle this year.
Well, that brings the end to the Cardiff talk, obviously. So you're feeling very optimistic for next season. You're happy with your squad.
Yes. We've got to hit the ground running this year.
You're happy with your squad. There's a bit of a dodgy start, but you think you'll finish 4th. Do you think McCarthy will be there by the end of the season then?
As it stands, yes.
Yes. Okay. So, as you know, as you very well know, I'm a Chelsea fan. I want to ask you just briefly about some Chelsea stuff because I'm asking all my fears just to kind of see a different opinion. As you know, Chelsea have a bit of an issue with striker now at this current moment. Giroud's away to AC Milan. Tammy Abraham is not particularly trusted by Thomas Tuchel's proven it last season, but he's the only registered striker at the club. Obviously, Erling Haaland, we've been linked to him all summer, but it looks like it's too much of a big deal at Chelsea.
That's not
It
happening.
just seems like it's far too big, even for a Roman Abramovich. I've actually said this now. I think Chelsea are going to struggle for top four if we don't get some sort of striker in, because having Tammy Abraham and then you're expecting Timo Werner to score 20 plus goals and Havertz to score 15 plus goals, or Mason Mount to start scoring goals. You're asking a lot, and we knew goals were an issue for Chelsea last season. And I think over the course of a whole season, only having Abraham as a striker and all that, I think it will end up in us fighting for a top four place. How do you see it for us?
It's difficult. I can see Timo Werner hitting the ground running and do what he did for RB Leipzig, but maybe just needed that year to find his feet. I really don't know. I'd say getting another younger striker. Tammy Abraham, everyone knows my thoughts on him because he is, at the end of the day, he is an ex-Swansea and Bristol City player. That's all that's all that needs to be said. He needs to leave that club. Get another younger striker in, possibly looks the lower end of the Premier League / Championship, develop a player, maybe even look to your youth system, develop someone going forward. But it's either going to be Timo Werner is going to have a phenomenal season, hit the ground running, you're going to make top four, or it is going to be a complete disaster.
That's kind of what you are relying on Timo Werner as things stand to step up unless Chelsea get someone in the door, and you can't go with Tammy Abraham as the only registered striker at the club. It's just one for rotation sense, and even Abraham he's proved that he can do it in games, but he hasn't proved over a whole season he can do it. And he doesn't have Olivier Giroud.
Plus, he can't do it in the Premier League either. In the Championship, he's absolutely superb, but in the Premier League, even at Swansea, he was poor.
Do you think Chelsea could fight for the league next season? Do you think they'll retain the Champions League, win the FA Cup, or do you think it's going to be do you think, as things stand without a striker, it could be a difficult, painful season for my club?
I think you really need to focus on the league next year, so maybe just go a season without trophies. I mean, you've won the Champions League last season. Focus on getting top four, I reckon. Exit the FA Cup early, exit the Carabao Cup early, do the Cardiff approach, focus on the league and get into that top four.
That's fair enough. You don't see Chelsea signing Haaland then? You've already kind of answered the question I was going to ask you.
There is a higher likelihood of Gareth Bale going to Cardiff, even though his odds are now 5-4, than Erling Haaland going to Chelsea. That does not mean it's impossible, though. Especially with the rumours around Bale.
Do you think we could get Lukaku, maybe Harry Kane, or do you think that we're going to have to, as you said, look at a Danny Ings, for example?
I wouldn't say Danny Ings. He's going to stay at Southampton, but yeah, look around the league. Maybe look into Europe.
A Griezmann? No, I don't want Griezmann. So my final question to you to wrap up the show is a question again. I said I'm asking everyone this question throws a lot of people off guard, and Ali from the Crystal Palace fan, this took him by complete surprise. Who do you think will be sacked first in the Premier League?
This is a BBL question. This from what we do on our predictions. There's a few that's come into my head already. Yeah, there's actually a standout few, to be honest. Ooh, who's gone up? Right. It's either going to be Xisco, Watford, the new Wolves manager, if they have a poor start. Actually, no, I wouldn't say Patrick Vieira. Nuno Espirito Santo, or if Man United have a poor start, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
I've got Dean Smith of Aston Villa.
I don't think so.
No, because if they lose Jack Grealish, they're really defensively not great record. If they lose Jack Grealish, as they proved last season when Grealish went out of the team, they went on a really bad slump. I know a lot of Aston Villa fans were not particularly happy with the way the team were playing.
I do think that Grealish is staying, though. He's not moving. So I think Villa are going to have another great year. And Dean Smith, he's underrated to me. What he did at Brentford to get him competing in the Championship and pushing towards the Premier League, and what he did at Aston Villa, turning around a mid-table mediocrity Steve Bruce squad to getting them in the Premier League, keeping them there and finishing mid-table. Superb.
How long are you giving the Watford manager then?
It depends what type of start they make. They've signed some good players that, from hearing what certain Watford fans have been saying, they are better equipped this season than what they were in the year they got relegated. I'm going to give them till Christmas.
Doug, what do you call it? Doug had a Watford fan on for his...
Yeah, James from the Watford Way on. Really nice guy.
He told me that they have 7 registered strikers.
They have a lot. They have a big strike force, and there's some good strikers in there as well.
In terms of Watford's start, I'll read out their first few games. So to start off with, just make sure I have the right game. So they're away to Crystal Palace.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, so that's wrong. That's a friendly. That's wrong. Okay. So they're home to Aston Villa, away to Brighton, away to Spurs, home to Wolves, away to Norwich, and home to Newcastle.
That's a difficult start, that. I can only see 3 to 6 points maximum, and they're coming from games, from Norwich and from Newcastle.
And the manager would be sacked.
I think they'll give him time because that is a very difficult start to the season, to be fair to them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the end of the next episode of the trip ahead. Obviously, as I said, we brought on Cardiff. He's living that privileged land. Cardiff's that big of a team that we have to get them on just as the only one for outside the Premier League. It's going to be no Swansea because we don't have Swansea City fans on this channel.
No chance.
I don't want the dirt on my beautiful channel. Nathan, thank you so much for coming on. I've had a busy day at work. I know the heat's quite hot, so I do appreciate you coming on and give us a bit of an insight of Cardiff.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me on. It's currently a lovely 32 degrees in the Isle of Barbados, so got to get down the beach. And yeah, I'm going to have a good night. Thanks for having me on, mate. Sub to my channel, link in the description below. The vlogs are returning. Yeah, so Nathan's Twitter's there is on screen. His YouTube and his Twitter will also be in the description below. Do keep an eye out for the vlogs. Obviously, there'll be no watch-alongs, obviously, if Baron, everyone goes to plan. So obviously the watch-alongs come to an end, but they were amazing while they were there. They will still be there for all away games that I can't make as well. So, for example, the Peterborough one is definitely going to be a watch-along because that's midweek. But a lot of the week, we're going to try and go to as many away games this year as possible. So, all midweek away games, unless something drastic happens. For example, it's like in a public holiday and it's an evening game, I'll be going to it. But all the weekend ones should be vlogs, especially away games now as well. So check it out on the channel, guys. Keep yourself updated.
Indeed, I think you're close to a milestone, if I'm not mistaken, too.
I don't think so.
No, I must be someone else. I've had so many people on the channel recently. I'm losing track.
Fair enough, mate. That's fair enough.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I think everyone who is not a fan of someone in the Championship, let's hope Cardiff come up next season. But then Chelsea can just rob you again and send you back down again.
Oh, nah.
Or in other words, you'll probably score some goal that stops us winning the league or send us into
We will get our revenge.
You'll probably get us in the FA Cup and knock us out of that or something like that. Ridiculous.
Well, considering what's happened between our clubs in the last few FA Cup meetings, ooh.
But again, check out Nathan's channel. Hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to my channel if you are so new. And me and Nathan will see you again very, very soon. Enjoy the hot weather. Do not get sunburnt. And I'm going to go and drink about 3 liters of water because I've been struggling. So, yeah, thank you all. See you later, guys.
Why do you let us hurt one another just for the dollar? Did you lose your heart in the darkness deep in your pocket? No, I don't care of the price I pay. I don't want to spend my life that way. Tell me, is the pain that you're causing worth what you profit?
Yeah, I know that money don't buy happiness, but buys you more material shit. Been reworking how I think and what it means to be rich. I used to think it meant to flex, so Rolex on my wrist. Feels bad to take more than you give. Lately hate how we live. I never want to become the things that I hate. With a man in the mirror with laugh and spit in my face and tell me that the money is maybe another fake. I've been drowning in my mind and my money's been adding weight. Oh Lord, please save me. I should've known that something man-made couldn't make me. I say I'm making music, or is music what creates me? I never have an answer, same question every day. See, when we pass on, all our things are passed on to the next. Everything we didn't do is everything we regret. Every day we fucking work for this worthless check. If you're not happy, you're forever in debt. You're forever in debt.